Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Apex Racing TV, here for some fantastic sports car action. It is season 1 and round 1 here at the famous Sebring International Raceway. A brilliant track and a brilliant location for such an event. The GT4s and the TCRs will be taking to the circuit today in what will be an action-packed race, no doubt. A good grid of pros and AMs in both car categories. It's going to be fantastic. I'm Matthew Duffin, bringing you through all the action here tonight with Aaron Smith. Aaron, good evening. We're looking forward to tonight.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's I've really looked forward to this season. I'm pretty sure most of the drivers had as well. GT4s, TCRs, an absolutely amazing combination. That's an absolutely astounding track. Sebring is world renowned, to be honest, and of course, having had the Sebring 12 hours just about a month ago now, both in real life and in sim, we're going to take you on a little deep dive into the Sebring track. You've got the very, very famous first sector, which is really, really tricky, but super, super technical. It kind of describes this entire track, to be honest. That first sector is gorgeous. Then you have to kiss this hairpin into turn 7 beautifully, nailing it at the apex. Then coming through the fairly fast section of turns 8 and 9. This can actually be a fairly decent opportunity to just settle down, maybe go for an overtaking opportunity into turn 10. Difficult, but not impossible. And then going side by side through turn 11. We've seen many incidents through that corner, not only in our own series here on Apex, but in real life as well. And then into turn 12 and 13, Tower Corner. A very, very infamous corner for being an absolute B. And then coming down now towards the Le Mans section, you have to use these curbs to maximize the most amount of time through here. Otherwise, you will just simply not be on the pace. And well, looking at the cars on track right now, that's exactly what people are doing, maximizing those curbs. And it's one of the bigger changes to this track, actually. It's one of the only tracks on the sim with these brand new 3D curbs that iRacing is trying to introduce into the simulator, and it does make those curbs a little bit more tricky to use. And that last corner as well, really good overtaking opportunity. We've seen plenty of side-by-side finishes here at this track, and who knows, we might get another one today. Unlikely because it's such a long race, but should be a good one nonetheless.
Could be a great race nonetheless, and what a fantastic circuit this is. The TCR drivers are out on this track at the moment. The pros and the AMs separated into 2 categories for their qualifying, in which they do have 10 minutes to qualify, and after their 10 minutes it will then be 12 minutes, I do believe, for the GT4 cars, is what I did read earlier. But it is a fantastic grid of Audis, Hondas and Hyundai so far out there on the circuit. A couple of drivers still in the pit lane. But what are we expecting to see tonight in the TCR category, Aaron? First of all, obviously we know a touring car format, and for the British fans, as the BTCC season looms large, they can look forward to some touring car action. We get it tonight. We know that they bring great thrills and great racing and a lot of drama. We're expecting more of that at the Sebring circuit.
I think you've absolutely hit the nail on the head there, Matthew. It's just what these cars are about. It's hard knuckle racing. This is probably one of the most purest forms of racing you will be able to see. These TCR cars, like you mentioned, the British Touring Car Championship, again, has been renowned for just being bumper to bumper, wheel to wheel, just scrapping for minutes on end. It's honestly so much fun to watch. And even better if you see it in real life. It's just amazing. And if we get stuff like that tonight, I will have a massive smile on my face. But yeah, like you said, this first part of qualifying is taken up by the TCRs, which are just a little bit slower than the GT4s. So kind of a shame we couldn't have them a little bit closer towards each other. They're just coming towards the end of their qualifying session. We're just riding on board now with Damien Harris, who seems to be doing all right for his first qualifying session of the season, up into third place in the pro category, only 0.2 off of the fastest time, which actually round Sebring is not too bad, I'd say. It's a long old track, and as you can see, 2 minutes 14. That is an incredibly long lap time. And I was just talking about how much quicker the GT4s are. Here they go. Carter Lundy, we're very familiar with him on the Radical Series. He's currently on pole, a 209.3. Is anyone going to get near that? I'm not sure.
Well, the 209.6 currently gone in the pro category. Now goes in a 209.4 by Pascal Sticks there. So a little bit closer, not quite close enough at the moment, or just a tenth and a bit off the back of Lundy so far. And the GT4s as well. So many varieties between them. We've got the Porsches, the BMWs, Mercedes, Aston Martins and McLarens out there. I don't believe we've got all four of them cars tonight. No, we have got all four variants of them cars out there. So great variation in the GT4 category to see as well. Which GT4 car would you realistically say suits this circuit, or is it kind of a balanced track that will suit all in different areas?
I'd say it should be a fairly balanced circuit, to be honest. It kind of has that nice mix between fairly long straights, of course, all the way down the back straight and the main straight, and on the section that we're at now. But then, like I mentioned earlier, that really technical part, the start of that first sector and into the section we're in now of turns 10 all the way to 13, it is a nice mixture. And I think the cars should be fairly balanced around here. As far as I'm aware, I'm not seeing too much of an advantage on the timing sheets right now, which is a good thing. I think that's an amazing thing. I think the car should be able to suit the driver. You have 4 or 5 cars you should pick from. That's how a BOP should be, nice and balanced. Still a bit iffy, but I'm liking the way it looks so far.
Yeah, it looks fantastic at the moment. And like we said, in that pro category for GT4s, barely a second separating the top 7 drivers. If we go back down to GT4 AM as well, they're the top 2, they're separated by just over a couple of tenths, I believe, in that one. Yeah, sorry, a couple of hundredths in that one. And they are pretty close all the way down their field between the top 7. 7 tenths per second separating the AM drivers there. So that is fantastic to see. As well as in the touring car category at the moment, Lundy, the pole for GT4 Pro. GT4 AM is Eaton. And then we've got Tranquillini in the TCR Pro, currently the fastest man out there, with a Gardner in TCR AM at the moment, leading the pace so far. Here he is. We've also we forgot to mention that there is 3 types of touring cars to talk about as well. You've obviously got the 4, the Audi, the 2 different variations in the Hyundai. You have the Elantra and the yeah, not even going to try and pronunciate the second one. And then you've got the Honda Civic Type R, which is fantastic. See, there's 4 different touring cars out there as well. This is Damien Harris, currently P3 in that pro category at the moment, just under 2 tenths off the back of Tranquillini so far. And like you said, Aaron, it's not a bad gap to have around this circuit. It's such a long circuit, such a technical circuit as well at times, that it could lead to any driver making one little mistake, running that little bit wide, and getting, a few off-track penalties, if you will, and drivers being able to capitalise on that. We have got a couple of minutes left, though, of this qualifying session, and it is the top drivers who stay the same at the moment. But look at them splits, especially in the touring cars. Just over a tenth and a half separating the two drivers in Pro and Am for that provisional pole. In the GT4s, it's separated again, pretty much similar, by just over 4/10 of a second. So these drivers all gunning for that pole position here, which is worth a couple of points in this championship.
I just want to mention a slight thing. I don't think Damien Harris has quite got the memo. He shouldn't be on track right now, since his part of the qualifying finished a while ago.
Yes.
I don't think he's quite understood the assignment, so that will most definitely be a post-race penalty, or a grid penalty, or qualifying ban even for next time out. So unlucky Harris, you'll learn from this, of course, but he looks quick from third at the moment. But
Yeah.
I'd be surprised by the dominance at the top. Carter Lundy, half a second nearly ahead of P2. That is a huge gap in such a close category.
It really is. It's a fantastic gap that he can build on in that race. The gap in GT4M's just come down to just under 10th and a half. Let's talk quickly though before the end of qualifying as drivers will start and finish their final laps. We're at Sebring today. We go to Imola in a week's time. Then we're at Zandvoort. We go to Motorland Aragon on the 6th of May. The 13th of May, the Nürburgring combined. What a track that is going to be. And then we go to Road Atalanta. And then we go to Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. What a calendar we have for this season of the sports car racing.
I'm really looking forward to it. I think the calendar is sublime, and it's a really good opening round, Sebring. I couldn't really think of a better round to start. And we've got a couple drivers who you might be familiar with, especially me and Josh. We've got Lewis Ward, who of course is part of the Apex Racing TV group of people. And I believe we've also got Samuli Kumo somewhere in the lobby as well, and that's interesting. We're just getting the whole band back together. And to be fair, Lewis Ward, he's doing okay at the moment. He's currently P7 in Pro and P8 overall. He's only being beaten by the GT4 Am of Eton, who's actually doing fairly well, sort of competing up in the pros. But we're coming towards the end of qualifying at the moment, and because we're not using the heat format, they can finish their lap, thank God. I don't know why iRacing still has that feature, but oh well. The drivers can finish their lap if they want to. Doesn't look like too many people are going to be challenging for pole at the moment, so it looks like it's going to be a fairly dominant first pole position for Carter Lundy, all the way at the top, half a second clear of Talaman in second place. It's a huge gap as someone in the background there really playing with track limits.
A huge gap indeed. Like you said, that half a second, he can really be on the front foot going into the race and can be looking positive to get to a good start and maybe build that gap throughout the race as we're on board with Dominic Engel here. Then he comes through the final corner towards the line, as close to the tyre wall as you like to get for it. Goes to that concrete wall and stays P3 there in the GT3 Am category. In fact, there he goes, pole position at the very end. So Dominic Engel there actually pipping pole position as the timing screen update. So going P1 for Dominic Engel at the very end. That is a fantastic lap time for him. Now on board with Mikko Nurmi, the Finnish driver, coming through to pit lane. So he's bailed on his lap at the very end. But GT4 Am changes at the death there, and it'll be Engel who takes the Am pole position. And I do believe that the points off a pole position in each category of Pro and Am between the TCRs and the GT4 as well. So that is a couple of points to his name there.
And of course, every point matters in a championship like this. And with so many people in both the TCRs and the GT4s, I genuinely think we're going to have a really close championship. I know at the moment it looks like there may be some dominance from a certain Canadian at the top of the timing sheets, but I think that will simmer down when we come to racing. I have seen him race, as I mentioned earlier on in that Radical series. He is a very, very good driver. Sometimes prone to a few mistakes, but today's going to be a game about strategy. We have a 75-minute race for you in this opening round. It's unheard of, but we're here for it.
We're here for it. Pit stops will be needed to be made, no doubt, due to fuel and It's just going to be fantastic to see. Just over an hour. Who likes an hour and 15-minute race? Because that is it's a bit of a strange time to have. But hey, we're all for it here in this GT4 and touring car category. We have got them for you at Sebring with the race coming up momentarily. It's been a great day for all these drivers. It's good weather here as well. It's nice to see that we are sort of, the cloud level is there. The sun's not quite rising, so the track's not going to be at its optimum sort of temperature and grip, so these drivers have got to make sure they're fully aware of what they have to do in this race, and I'm sure that they'll be preparing now. They make sure their fuel strategies are correct and their setups are absolutely spot on for this series and for this first race on what is the airfield of Sebring, a bumpy circuit, not the smooth tarmac that we see of a normal racetrack. The active airfield, obviously, like I said, we saw in the 12 hours of IMSA on iRacing and in the real world a few weeks ago. Yeah, it is. Look, it is going to be a fantastic grid tonight. It's going to be a fantastic race as well. Aaron, Lundy looks like he's got the upper hand at the moment. Like you said, a 75-minute race, it can go anybody's way. Do you see Lundy having to take control of this race early on by getting a good lead and a good gap?
I think in these close quarter cars, it's going to be really, really difficult for him to do that. But a pole position is definitely the way you want to start the season.
Here is the grid. It is Carter Lundy who takes pole position from Lucas Tellerman in P2. The second row is Mike Plausch with Pascal Stix, P4. Row 3 is Dominic Engel, Luca Phillip. Then it'll be Luca Nadeo from Rowan Eaton, Lewis Ward, and then Roland Grossman. Joslo Cibula from Cedric Charbet. Obviously, these grids are Pro and Am together. Francois Strat from Adam Brown, then it is Miko Nurmi from Leo Duvlay, Maxime Dubas, and Leonard Schenbel. Jacob Rampazzo from Nicholas Herpo. Raphael P21 from Istvan Desky. Then it'll be Lars Freiseke from Toby Jones. And again, apologies for pronunciations on tonight's race. Henry Ward is 25th from Victor Lewandowski in P26. P27, Kevin Smith. Martin Fouche, P28. Matt Emmons in P29. Dan Carpenter, P30. And Greg Hobler, P31. Before, Aaron, we get to the touring car grid, the TCR grid. Damien Harris from Andy Tranquillini. Then it'll be Gabriele Bonacorsi, Sam Blessy, and then Matteo Graziano? We'll go with that one. We'll see. This could take a season just to learn these names. P37 is Weber Enkamp. Costiano Marino is P38. Gavin Gardner will be P39. Benjamin De Silva, P40. 41st will be Carl Winkler. 42nd, Alvaro San Martin. Russ Flower alongside Lars Vila. Reese Watt from Fabio Viola. Ian Manners from Carlo Carli.
I really do. I really do think people underestimate how difficult it is to learn 50 names in the span of about 2 minutes. I know we look like complete idiots, but every commentator does this. We've all been here where we look at a name and we have a panic attack. We're British, me and Matthew, so we are incredibly bad at foreign names. We're horrible. So we do deeply apologise. I'm definitely going to get some wrong, but good thing we have the formation lap, because if it was a standing start, we would have gotten to about 36th and missed like 14 other drivers.
We get through it as best we can, like Aaron says. For European drivers or anybody else who speaks another language, saying English names is easier than us saying their names. And I remember doing a broadcast last year. I kept calling the driver Versik the whole way through. Turns out it was pronounced Waversik. And I was saying it completely wrong for the entire race, and nobody told me in my ear. So, we've got all night to get these names wrong, to get them right. We do apologise if we do, but we're about to go green at the end of this formation lap. And the interesting thing we haven't touched on, Aaron, is when the GT4 cars inevitably, after 75 minutes, will come around to lap the TCR cars. Lap traffic can play a big part in any race.
Yeah, and it's going to be really difficult for them to lap them, actually. It's kind of similar to GTPs and LMP2s. They're fairly similar on pace, only a few seconds per lap, to be honest. And I guess this kind of because it's a long track, it makes the gap look bigger than it actually is. I think the gap from pole in each was about 4 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds. In a straight line, there shouldn't be a huge difference. It's just going to be around these twisty corners where the GT4s just have that little bit more grip, a little bit more downforce, and they'll just blast away from these TCRs. But yeah, it's a really good point that you mentioned there about the lap to traffic, which shouldn't come until, I'm going to guess, around 30 to 40 minutes in. Maybe if we get a couple of drivers who are maybe off the pace or had some issues, might see them earlier on, but it will take us a while to get to those TCRs and might be able to lap them twice. But side note as well, this is the longest formation lap in the world. And for some reason on this simulator, it's just American tracks that suffer from this. I think it's Road America, Sebring, and I think another one that's just incredibly long. It's like 4 minutes for a formation.
Yeah.
It's just, why?
Hey. Yeah, that's it. Katie, I'm just noticing in the chat, says, unless the driver tells you, it's just a case of guessing some pronunciations. It honestly gave me a good giggle going through that then. Well, thank you, Katie. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show, because we're bound to butcher some more as the night goes on. But for these GT4 drivers, you'll notice the gap between the GT4s and TCRs. That'll be so that the GT4s will get away before the TCR cars. And this is going to be fantastic to see. Lovely pink livery there in the Hyundai on the front row of the TCR grid. I'm all for that. That is beautiful. As they come around then the final bend to start this race. And what a race this is going to be. 75 minutes of this Sebring circuit. And the safety car has pulled into the pit lane. And we are about to go green. Now for the GT4s, it is go for them as they take to the green flag and they start their race. The TCR's a bit further back also joining their little fight as well, and you'll see them all come into turn one. It filters down just nicely as they go 3 or 4 abreast and now coming to side by side 2 abreast through turn one. It all looks really clean from all the GT4 cars through that first corner, and there's a huge incident at the start of the TCRs, and that is the leader in the Hyundai who is in the wall, and it has gone horribly wrong for him at the first corner, Aaron.
Yeah, that was a huge incident. It looked like it was just someone trying to go for a bit of an optimistic move. There's a couple GT4s as well who've had some incidents. That's one of the Aston Martin cars. I believe it's Emmons who's had an incident. But honestly, that shot at the beginning of all of those GT4 cars coming down that main straight was absolutely gorgeous. And they got off initially to a good start, but just looked like going through the first few turns that it just filtered just a bit too much. The track narrows very, very quickly. And, well, it ended in absolute chaos. And it looks like down at the hairpin, it's just getting worse for the TCRs. They're all just bottlenecking. It's just absolute chaos down there. And you can see the speed differential at the moment between those back markers in the GT4s and the front runners in the TCRs is not actually that big. And they might struggle with a bit of damage on, I think it's that Aston Martin.
They might indeed, and like you said, as it really tightens as they come through the track. This is typical touring car racing, side by side, bumper to bumper. Nobody's going to give an inch as they come through into the middle sector of the lap. It is TCR cars everywhere as the Audi gets very late onto the brakes there in the red car. That is Russ Flower, who is just in front of him, who nearly got collected. That has compromised the car behind's run. That is San Martin, and Watt behind in the Honda looking to have a bit of an opportunity, but cannot do it. Russ Flower, though, 4th currently in that AM category as he's looking to hold on in there. It is Lundy, though, who crosses the line back in the lead of this one. I did notice on a shot a few moments ago that the BMW there of Tellman was actually in the lead of the GT4 Pro race. So Lundy's got that lead back as we filter through the field. Down through turn one, down towards the final part of the circuit they come again. It's all pretty clean now from these GT4 drivers, but the TCR cars, no matter where you look, there is a good gaggle of them all bunched together. Honestly,
just the slower category you get in racing, it just seems to just provide a bit more chaos. And that's what we're getting in that TCRs. GT4 is just a little bit more calm, a little bit more settled down. But honestly, anything could happen at any time. And well, we're about to look at a replay of Damien Harris, who, of course, is probably going to get a penalty for that qualifying infringement. Ooh. And in the lead, just gets bumped by, I believe, that was Tranquilini. I can't even. I'm butchering names as well.
Yeah, Tranquilini.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Just a big tap into the rear of the back of Damien Harris, who, like you said, might be looking at qualifying infringement for over qualifying, but yeah, Tranquillini there just getting into the back of him. As we're seeing here is Cedric Charbet here going around the outside of this next part of the circuit. That is in a battle with San Martin. Don't know where I'm looking. That is in a battle with Adam Brown, apologies, in the BMW. No, that is Leonard Schendel, sorry, in the BMW. So Adam Brown's actually dropped behind these two. So these two have got ahead of him. Not even Adam Brown. It was Cibula, the Polish driver then in the other Mercedes. Adam Brown is in front as they both drop a little wide there. That's the BMW then of Schendel, who drops a little wide onto the gravel, and Charbet back through. And this is what we love about these cars that are so close in their speeds. It is great racing as now Cibula goes for a little look but tucks back in and doesn't think of making that one. There is a great group of cars here just following each other through this middle part of the circuit, Aaron, and this is so far a great start to this 75-minute race. It is action-packed so far, but drivers as well need to settle into a nice rhythm because it's not won in the opening 5 minutes. It could be won, though, in them last 5.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need multiple angles of this race. It's going to be chaos trying to keep up with about 50 drivers. It's going to be amazing, though, watching all of these guys go wheel to wheel constantly. And it looks like in the ARMS, it's getting very, very spicy between the TCR cars. Looks like a San Martin just struggling to hold on to that third place, while at the same time trying to go for second. It's in that bit of a gaggle where you're trying to defend and attack at the same time on that outside line. The Audi just going to lose out for the moment. Should get a better exit. It's super close. They're going 3 wide now. This is an absolutely fantastic battle for second place in the TCR AM category. It's now 4 wide. Honestly, this is absolutely incredible. Actually, that's a GT4 coming through, but even still, 4 wide on the main straight. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. Managed to come away cleanly. They're drifting it through turn 1. That is incredible stuff. They're all still 4 wheels on the track. It's still going on down into turn 2 we go, and it's just going to settle down for a little bit now. But wow, what a few corners that was by the top drivers in the TCR AMS.
Absolutely incredible from the AM drivers there. And your heart must sink if you're that Porsche driver, because seeing them go 3 wide, he's trying to get back onto the back of his own pack, and he's now had to sort of carve his way through this TCR field. We're up with P3 so far on the GT4 Pros. Here is Mike Plausch, then currently defending from that of Pascal Stix in the Porsche behind him, the Austrian driver then. So this is the interesting little fight we've got happening in front in the Porsche Cayman GT4 car. So an absolutely fantastic little car to race around this Sebring circuit. And you can just see every bump that they go over. And as Aaron talked about, the curbs becoming increasingly difficult with iRacing sort of updating them and working off them. And maybe just a little too much curb there for Pascal as he came through the left-hand bend, setting himself up for the right-hander. But you look at that track map and you see the amount of cars on the circuit. You just look at them 2 GT4 cars, though, the green dot and the blue dot at the back of the TCR pack. They've got a lot of work to do to not only catch back up to the lead pack of GT4, but also clear that TCR traffic. This is Stix, though, still staying to the back as we go side by side for 11th in GT4 Pro. This is Nurmi then, currently defending from a couple of cars behind him. It looks like a good Mercedes train. This does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think, Mercedes in this queue, and Nurmi on the back of what looks to be one of the AM drivers, because he's a couple of seconds off the back of P10 in GT4 Pro as they come through turn 1 once again. Nice to see these drivers being patient and not making them silly early lunges that you can sometimes see in motor racing, where they just want to get the job done early in the race. They're really taking their time and being patient as they come through now this tricky chicane section. And as Aaron said in the track preview, it is a beautiful section of track there, really taking a lot of curbs, a few of these cars. Fastest laps then in each category at the minute in GT4 AM. It is Eaton in second place with a 2:10.2. Tranquillini in TCR Pro with a 2:14. And AMS has actually just gone off outside the top 5. So Pros is Lundy. We probably wouldn't have expected anything else, but TCR AM, their fastest lap driver, is actually currently outside the top 5. So maybe somebody who's got a bit of space between them, because Aaron, the difficult thing with fastest lap here, bonus points on offer for that, is to set a fast lap when you're in such traffic. You need that clean air.
Yeah, I think, though, setting a fastest lap at this time, it's getting very hectic down into the hairpin. Bit of a bump there going into the hairpin. It's really close between the TCR AMs. I'm absolutely loving it. It's super, super close. That was Manners giving Viola a bit of a bump going down there. This is what I was talking about, just a bit of a friendly bump with these cars. This is what they're designed to do. He's trying to now go up the inside as we head into turn 10. Can get an overtake done there, but it's really, really tricky, and he's just put himself in a difficult spot now. But fastest lap at the start of the race is kind of pointless, because we're going to have, of course, probably tyre changes, and of course the fuel levels will change throughout the race. Track conditions are going to change throughout these 75 minutes, and we're nearly 10 minutes in. Honestly, it flies by around. It's really, really quick stuff. But it's just starting to calm down. We're in that 10-minute window where everyone goes a little bit crazy, and now the gaps are just starting to form. Everyone's sort of sussing each other out. And, I mean, it's really good in the TCR Rams. Everywhere else, though, looks fairly calm, although I may have just jinxed it as Styx is going side by side, heading through turns 1 and 2, trying to defend from Nadeo behind. Really good racing between these two. Styx using all of the curb there. And it looks like the Mercedes has just gotten ahead. That was a nice overtake. Again, little bits of wheel-to-wheel, bumper-to-bumper racing, but that's what we love to see in these GT4 cars, as that is a GT4 car just trying to cut his way back through the TCR field. It's going to be pain for him for the rest of the races. You know, not too much difference between the TCRs and the GT4s, as you can see there. Especially with damage, the 2-3-1 really struggling there. And that's the French driver Dalbas all the way down, currently in 29th place.
Yeah, indeed it is. As he gets the run on the straights, but it is all that corner speed that the TCRs are able to stick with him. You see him just carve his way past the Honda now onto the back of the Hyundai as they come into the braking zone. Here is Benjamin De Silva, though, the leader of the TCR AM category. He's got a good gap over second place. Sam Martin, though, 3 seconds. So he's mixing it in there with the TCR Pro drivers at the moment. Is it De Silva in the Hyundai? So it's a Hyundai who lead in both the Pro and the AM category. But 2.9 seconds for De Silva is a good little gap at the moment to work with. It's better than Graziano in Pro, who's got a second between himself and Tranquillini and Bonacorsi. There then, the GT4 Pro and GT4 AM as well, the top two separated by half a second in both of those, and then it's a good gap back to third place. But De Silva controlling his race and controlling his pace nicely, and as you say, Aaron, 10 minutes in, it's flown by, but now the drivers are in that zone, in that time of the race where they're in a rhythm, in a nice little zone, and they can just go about controlling their race. And it is all about setting your car to the end. What fuel strategy you want to run, what tyres you want to run, if you need to change them. So it'll all be about them pit stops that these drivers will have to make going into that final part of this race. But it's Lundy who leads in Pro at the moment and is the overall race leader. Dominic Engel leads in GT4 AM. In TCR Pro, that is led by Matteo Graziano, and in TCR AM it is Benjamin De Silva, who currently lead at the Sebring circuit then. With plenty of time still left in this race, it is going to be fantastic to see what these drivers can do. Here is the lead of GT4 Pro, and here is Lundy in his red Porsche, who is just ahead of Telemann. And it's going to be an interesting battle, this Porsche versus BMW. Both going to have different characteristics in their cars, as you see there, Telemann just closing in under the braking, and the Porsche being able to get better traction out the corner and open that gap up just a couple of hundredths there. But Lundy doing exactly what he needs to do, and that is just controlling this race at the moment.
Yeah, not too surprised, to be honest, considering I've seen a bit of an improvement from Lundy, to be honest. And we didn't see him last time out in the previous Radical European series. Maybe he was preparing for this series, hence why he's currently leading. That would make a lot of sense. But he's doing very, very well at the moment, just controlling the field nicely. But of course, the thing that they're going to have to watch out for just across the field is that tyre wear. I am 100% certain that these tyres will not be able to go the full distance. And I'm pretty sure they will only need 1 pit stop. I don't think they'll need 2, unless they have damage, of course. I'm guessing this amount of fuel should get them to around the 40-minute mark. We might see some varying strategies from other drivers, but around the 40 to 50-minute mark is when we should be seeing these drivers coming in. Hopefully for tyres as well. Maybe we'll see some drivers being brave. It does gain you a lot of time in the pit stops if you can save those tyres. But now we're in that kind of bit of the race where people should be saving tyres and fuel. but some people are choosing to ignore me. See the Aston Martin there overtaking Rowan Eason. I believe they are in 2 different categories though. And yeah, it was Sherbout, the French driver, just making his way past. He's moved himself up into the top 10 overall. Not too bad from him at the moment, just making some decent progress. And yeah, like you were mentioning earlier on, Matthew, it's fairly close between the top 2 in each class. By saying that, the GT4 AM has just spread out a little bit. It's gone up to 1.4 seconds. And also turning on the wipers there was Cedric, maybe a bit of dirt on his windscreen. I don't believe we've got any weather, just random weather events this season. I don't think. Maybe Sam will throw something into the fire, but I think we're going to have cool, refreshing, sunny days across this entire season.
As well. But like you say, the gap opening up. The gap though in TCR Pro is down to 0.3 of a second, and that gap has just came down even more, down to 2.5. So it's really ebbing and flowing in that TCR Pro category at the moment. 0.6 in GT4 Pro. So they're the 2 leaders, and this is the gap in that TCR Pro category. Matteo Graziano here then leading in his Hyundai from that of Tranquillini, who is just behind, and then in 3rd place is Bonacorsi. So all 3 drivers currently at the moment within a second of each other. The 3 Italian drivers really putting on a good show here. This on board Bonacorsi, you see that sun just over the trees. That'll be giving the drivers a bit of blindness through their windscreen and as they head into the braking zone. And you just see here, look, the Hyundai from Honda from Hyundai. And at the moment, the Honda just sat in a good position. We can just maybe save that bit more fuel in the slipstream. Not that it's too effective in these TCR cars, and maybe can just look after it. Well, I say look after his tyres. This is going to be hurting his tyres that bit more in that traffic. So when you talk about tyre strategy, maybe the Honda will be looking at the undercut later in the race. Lovely decal, lovely livery on that Honda there as well. Big Honda fan.
Yeah, sounds like it. And to be honest, yeah, this grid is really colourful, and that's what you like to see from a grid. Just nice, bright colours. It's sort of what we've been missing from a lot of motor racing series. Not going to name names, although every single person knows exactly what I'm on about. But yeah, no carbon here. Nice, refreshing splash of paint on these TCRs and GT4s alike, and I'm very much enjoying it. And just an added bonus, we've got the sun setting as well to hit the cars just at the right moment. And I imagine there will be a lot of picture taking after this race, not only by the drivers, but probably by us, just for fun. These cars look good. It's a nice racing series. Why not? Just grab a cheeky pic, maybe stick it on a wallpaper. And why not? These cars providing some good racing, side by side through turn 1, sun down. It's film. Honestly, it's Hollywood.
And then this, Aaron, brings another factor in. As we're talking about sundown, there is Tranquillini just having a look into turn 1, but it was only a look. It was nothing more than that so far. So the Honda driver looking to get a few moves done, or at least a look here or there to put the leader under some pressure. With that track temperature going into the night time, possibly dropping, the temperature of the tyres may start to drop as well. So this towards the end of the race could be absolutely huge for drivers in terms of their tyre strategies as well, as we go into that nighttime sort of racing by the end of this hour and a half. Hour and 15, sorry. Every minute that goes by, that something is going to happen different with this weather, and it's getting cooler as the sun sets and goes through into the evening period a bit more. But the leaders in that TCR Pro starting to battle each other a little bit more. San Martin has brought the gap down to De Silva in the Audi, and he's the only Audi inside the top 5 of both TCR Pro and AM at the moment. So not doing bad out there for the only Audi driver in the top 5 of both categories. Will we see any more? You see there as well another Porsche now coming through the pack of TCR, and there he is, just getting past one of the Hondas in the background. That's going to be interesting now with a few more of the GT4 cars coming through the TCR pack a little more. We saw a few of the dots on the track map earlier on in the broadcast that it was 2 or 3, I do believe, they'll have to carve their way through the field. And there is the Porsche and the BMW GT4 as well, who's down in 15th place in GT4 Pro, which is last in GT4 Pro, so I assume the Porsche's GT4 AM. So now, 17 minutes in, they are starting to carve their way through the field, but these two are drivers that possibly had offs or damage at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, Francois Strat there just trying to mow his way through the TCR field, and this is really, really frustrating as a driver. It's just losing you more and more time, and just that start of the race where you get into an incident. It's the best chance to gain positions, but also the best chance to lose them at the same time. So you're playing a very, very risky game at the start of a race, and unfortunately, getting very twitchy. I did notice that BMW did look awfully twitchy on that previous lap. It could be down to damage, or he's just a very aggressive driver running a lot of front downforce and nothing at the rear. Incredible amounts of rake on that BMW. But he's making his way through the field nicely, and we'll keep an eye on him throughout the rest of the race. And seems to be an incident. I believe Toby John might have had a crash at some point earlier on in the race. See if we can get a cheeky replay for you.
So he's in the McLaren chasing the Porsche. That's an Aston Martin. Did he just drop a wheel?
Yeah.
On the grass under braking.
Yeah.
And that's it. Round she goes. The Aston Martin gets through. So a little spin from Toby Johns, all on his own. So yeah, that's going to lose him a place. But you see, Francois Strat here, just looking on the time screen, he has made a pit stop earlier in this race. A potential damage early on. Whether he did repair it or just returned to pits, not too sure, but he's made a pit stop. That's why he's so far down the pack. He's about a quarter of a lap behind the rest of the pack. And looking at, I believe it's the Porsche behind. There's a pink Porsche behind. I'm not sure if that is, I think that is possibly Martin Fuchs, either or. I believe that's him down in 12th place in the GT4 AM category. He's also making his way through the field. But for Strat, like you said, very loose, very twitchy. Whether it is the damage after his pit stop or very aggressive, well, there's one way to find out, and I'll be continue to watch his progress through the field. That, though, is the difference in the speed in a straight line, the top speed of these GT4s over the TCRs. But in the corners, it's where the TCRs make all that momentum back.
Yeah, looks like my prediction was wrong, and just goes to prove that I've not driven these cars much, because I said the opposite, that the power would be fairly similar and it would be the corners. But to be honest, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. Looking at these GT4s, they're basically just normal road cars with wings on them. By the looks of it, the TCRs do look a bit more aggressive. So even though I am a driver, I'm terrible at technical analysis, apparently, when it comes to GT4s and TCRs. I've learnt my lesson. This is a learning game for me as well. Gets me involved in the touring car scene, which I really have been missing out on in recent years. Up in the GT4s, though, just to further up the field, bit of a battle going on for the final podium spots. This is Nadeo, Polic, and Sticks, separated by about 7/10 of a second, and 20 minutes into the race. That's not too bad going, to be honest, and pretty close for that third place spot. Crucial championship points, of course. You've got to take them all when you can get them, and I have the feeling this is going to be a nice battle pretty much for the entirety of the race. They look fairly stuck together, look a little bit quicker than the guys behind, but not quite quick enough for the two leaders in front of them. And that's going to be, honestly, this whole race is just going to be strategy, playing mind games. Who's going to save more fuel than the other? Are tyres going to come into it? And we also, you mentioned that Strat had come into the pits. Looks like he might have to come in again. It was only a 5-second stop, so that's a very, very short just splash and dash. Would not have been any tyres whatsoever, so we'll keep an eye. He could have just done an absolute worldie and he'll go to the end of the race absolutely fine and win the race. We'll keep an eye on the Frenchman, but looks like maybe that damage at the start has kind of buggered the rest of its race.
Yeah, we'll have to see and keep an eye on his progress. Lewis Ward, they're getting very close to the inside wall in his pursuit of Philip in front of him in the yellow Porsche, the 153 on the brakes a lot later as well was Ward there. So it managed to closing a little bit, but can't find a way through this technical sector of the lap. It's the left, right, left part of the lap. I believe that's 6, 7, 8, I think it is. So come through now, and that McLaren is just getting on the back of the Porsche. And that's allowing the Mercedes in front to pull away. And interesting to see Ward there. I believe he's one of the Apex Academy drivers, if I'm correct. Not too sure. I've seen that livery somewhere. I've seen that livery somewhere before, so I believe, yeah, the Apex Academy driver. Luca Phillip then, back from him looking on his yellow Porsche on the back of Ward. And again, look at that closing speed of that McLaren. Ward really more confident on the brakes than Phillip. It's about getting that traction, and as close as you can get, that's fine, but he just needs to find an opening, and so far Philip not giving him that opening at all. And again, the McLaren, Ward in that McLaren is very comfortable on the brakes compared to Philip in the Porsche that we was just on board with, because Ward, every corner there, just closes that gap in the braking zone. So you might have to keep an eye on a move on the brakes if you can get up that inside just a little bit. Again, look, you see that closing speed once more as they come through towards the final couple of corners. And it's just that traction at the corner. It's mid-corner that the McLaren seems to be losing out on compared to the Porsche, but closing into the corner, absolutely no problem. So the gaps out front just starting to build. Apart from that gap in TCR Pro, it is still within half a second. So they are absolutely flying at the moment in TCR Pro. And it is still Graziano and Tranquillini then who are going hammer and tong here. And it's just opened up to 6/10. That could be the fact that Graziano is just extending his gap. They've now got the BMW that's about to pass them for position in terms of the overall. But either way, 6/10 of a second after 24 minutes, these two are really going at it here.
Yeah, it's really good to see, and this is the kind of levels of championship that we want to see. Drivers really close after, 20, 30 minutes, maybe even an hour. That would be absolutely spectacular. And Tranquillini, I think, probably will get a penalty for that lap point incident, but no reason why he can't give it a fair old go on the track, as he is getting passed by Strat in the BMW. Don't think Strat is quite going to get past the number one in the TCR Pros right now of Graziano. Just a couple tenths too far back. They are better in a straight line, but not that much better. But should easily breeze on past before we head into turn one. And Graziano just letting him by, as obviously there is quite literally no reason to fight the Frenchman at all, because, that's just a not very nice thing to do, to be honest. I have seen people try to do that before, to battle people in other cars. It happens a little bit in LMP2 and GTP, and it's just like, why? Just let me go. There's no reason to ruin my race. And it might be funny for you, but I'm screaming at you down the mic. It's let me through, please. But luckily, this time round, Graziano is a normal human being, and let him go.
And the thing is, as well, is it can ruin his own race on board with Adam Brown here then in the Mercedes. Currently P6 in GT4 Pro. He has got Philip and Ward still on the back of him. A bit of a train starting to form behind Brown here, who is keeping some good pace. Last lap time was a 2:09.7. Those drivers just behind him a couple of tenths slower. Whether that's because they're in that train, unsure. But there is about 5 or 6 cars all together here. And with the other yellow Porsche in the background, hoping to get on the back of this pack. Here is Engel, Dominic Engel, the leader of GT4 AM, in the train. And on the back then of Brown, who is 6th, 7th and 8th. So he's actually 9th overall at the minute, is Engel. And then Rowan Eaton behind him. And while Engel is on that bit of a queue behind Brown, Eaton might fancy his chances with just closing that gap ever so slightly to his GT4 AM competitor and rival at the moment. Side-by-side action down the order here. Rampazzo going up the inside, that was of P12 in Pro. Cibula, who's going to try and come back around the outside here. Great bit of action so far, and the Porsche manages to get the job done and keeps it on the track and keeps it in front of the Mercedes driver, who's going to try and come back around the outside of the Porsche here. Will he be able to set himself up for the next part of the circuit on the outside line once again? So he's got to try and brake as late as he dares. Is he going to look for that cut back underneath? No, can't get the traction out the corner to do so. And Desi there manages to keep hold of that position.
Yeah, that was some pretty good defending there by Cibula, the Polish man, versus the Hungarian. Not a combination of drivers I don't think I've ever heard, but we love variety from all across the world. It's absolutely fantastic. And another driver, that we just briefly switched to, Lennart Schnabel, who I have experience with. He beat me to a championship. The less said about that, the better. But annoying. But I've had a fairly long history with Lennart. I've raced against him many times, commented against him many times, commentated over him, I should say, in varying series. F3, I think F4, I think he was in the Super Formula series, and now decides to give GT4s a go. A nice varied driver there. In P10, not doing too bad at the moment. 14 seconds off the lead, though, is definitely not where the German driver would want to be. And I have heard that the BMW is not the easiest car to drive in GT4, and it's not usually people's first choice. Usually that going towards the Porsche, Aston Martin, or the Merc. The McLaren and the BMW seem to be just that little bit more tricky to drive, and hence why we're not seeing too many of those in the lobby at the moment.
Yeah, interesting to see the different variety in car choice, and like you said there for the driver, trying his hand at a bit of all sorts. Benjamin Da Silva, the TCR AM leader, 3.5 second lead over San Martin. That's going up and down throughout this race. It was over 2 seconds, and it come down to just over 1 second. Now it's at well over 3. There is San Martin in his Audi. So far for Da Silva, he's having a great race at the moment, controlling the pace absolutely fine. But it's great to see the Audi doing well. So we've not seen an Audi in the top 5 of either Pro or AM bar San Martin. So it's great to see the Audi doing well here. Hyundai seems to be a popular choice at the moment out of these TCR cars. That is quite all over the place in terms of its popularity in AM and Pro. 3 in the top 5 of Pro and 4 in the top 5 of Amsterdam. Hyundai, pretty much a decent looking car. That is a driver in the pits. That is Johns. Toby Johns in the pit lane. Is that for a pit stop half an hour into this race with 45 minutes left to go of the race? I'm wondering what his strategy is there. Is that him coming in for his stop? There's a TCR car in as well. That is a Honda behind. Not sure who that is. It's the leader of TCR Pro. Oh, he took the lead momentarily. It is Marino in TCR Pro who's into the pits. So he says he's taken the lead. TCR Pro. I'm not sure that's accurate.
It says he's taken the lead of the entire race. Honestly, not 100% sure what's gone on there with the Italian.
They're putting in his car. That's some
and he's gone back to 7th. There you go.
There we go. So pit stops happening now then. So that's the McLaren and the TCR Honda making stops. Is it now that window for the strategy to start to kick in here?
Potentially. I'm surprised that some drivers are coming in this early, to be honest. We're only 30 minutes in. And 52-second pit stop there for the Italian. And definitely took the tyres there. I believe all 4s with that long pit stop. I am surprised, though, that was that early. I don't know if it's a strategic thing, excuse me. Could be. And, of course, we'll keep an eye on the rest of the field to see what everyone else does. But I predicted around the 40 to 50-minute mark that drivers will start coming in. And it looks like it might happen just a tiny bit earlier than that. A bit of a shock, to be honest. Maybe there is a fuel limit in this car, but of course when you come into the pits, you can fuel up pretty much to the max that these cars can hold. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on those strategies, and yeah, it looks like I was right in terms of tyres. The driver, Marino there, taking all 4, and hopefully should be able to get to the end on that set.
I just wonder if his strategy maybe is have a quick first stint, set yourself up for that second stint of 45 minutes. But we'll keep our eyes on his progress then. If we see if he's done his pit stop now, hopefully he won't be back in for the rest of the race in terms of his race turning out. Well, if he has to make a second pit stop, you feel like that could really ruin his chances of getting a good result in this race if it is to go that way. But we are watching back with Luca Phillip, who is still chasing down Brown in this category. Here is Brown, currently 6th in that GT3 Pro class, and is so far doing a great job of being in front. Actually looking at Ward, the Apex Academy driver, has got past Phillip, so he's actually moved himself up into 7th place at some point in this race.
Yeah, Lewis is doing a fantastic job there, to be honest, and well, we're going to have a look at how he did get up into...
Oh, there we go.
That's 7th. Yeah, just momentary off track there for one of the Porsches, and Lewis just saw his opportunity and went up the inside, easy as you like, and fairly easy move there for the Brits, representing Apex Racing TV, of course, technically, with that livery on his McLaren. And now he sets his sights on the car in front of him, which is Adam Brown in 6th place. Adam's had a pretty good race as well. He's up 8 places from where he started. He's flown under the radar. So well done to him so far. Currently in 6th place overall and in class in GT4 Pro. And yeah, just looking like a really competitive GT4 Pro field and TCR field as a whole. The GT4 AMs just starting to spread out a fair amount. I think a lot of them had issues at the start. But either way, looking to be a very, very competitive field, which I am loving.
So just looking at Lundy then, he's gaining onto the back of the TCR cars. We saw them lap the Honda that had been into the pits. Now Carter Lundy is starting to lap the rest of the field and starting to lap the cars that are yet to pit. So he's making his way through this pack with relative ease at the moment, but obviously lap traffic can play their part in this race. He has got a 2-second gap over Telemann then, so he's done really well so far as Lundy at managing this gap and controlling his pace out front. There you see just a bit more traffic ahead of him. That pack in TCR Pro is extended to 1.6 seconds. So Graziano has now managed to pull away and drop Tranquillini and do really well at the moment. But like you say, this lap traffic coming into play, the lights fully taking over the circuit at the moment, over the natural light here. So the cars all looking to use their headlights over anything else. And now that is Telemann who gets past the Audi driver as well there. So traffic coming into play. Pit stops have started. We're awaiting drivers in for more stops and more strategy options to go through this race as we enter that final 40 minutes of the race, and 34.5 minutes gone. It's so far flown by at the moment. No major dramas bar lap 1, turn 1, where the leaders of TCRs had a coming together. It's been a fantastic race so far though here at Sebring, in which all drivers are doing fantastic. Some great aerial shots of the circuit. You see all the headlights now starting to take over on the track over the natural light. And what a race it's been so far. Into that final 40 minutes of it though. So plenty for these drivers to still do, and plenty of mistakes can happen, plenty of opportunities can arise, like this one here, where we're seeing Brown still hold off that the back of Ward for that top 6 in GT3 Pro, but Dominic Engel so far doing really well, the leader of GT3 AM, who's on the back of these 3 pro drivers in GT4 category. Just saw Ward there was having a few little looks on the Mercedes driver. We saw him make the move on Philip, capitalised on a mistake from Philip, lapse in concentration possibly for him. But Lewis Ward's doing great things at the moment, and he's putting pressure on the Scot Adam Brown in towards the latter part of this lap. He's having a little look to the outside on each corner. He's actually taking a bit of a wider line through, a bit of a twitch for the Mercedes there. And this is Lewis Ward putting pressure on Adam Brown now and really starting to put him under the thumb and make sure that he makes them mistakes to open the door for the McLaren driver. And Aaron, this is brilliant driving from Lewis Ward. Very, very patient driving. And he seems like he's putting the drivers under enough pressure by keeping his McLaren there, but they're the ones making the mistakes.
Yeah, Lewis is putting on a nice bout of pressure onto Adam Brown at the moment. And I would not be surprised if we saw Lewis go for a move at any point within the next few laps, as it really does look like Adam is struggling a lot in that Mercedes. And Lewis, like I said, has been fairly impressive, as has Adam Brown so far in this race. And looks like the pit stops that we saw earlier on were just people going in early for whatever reason. Doesn't look like people are quite ready to come in yet. I'm still going to stick with my prediction that it's going to be around 40 to 50 minutes, although there is a TCR, I believe, coming into the pit lane. There are TCRs. I think it's going to be different for the TCRs then compared to the GT4s. So, yeah, we're seeing the TCR AMs specifically, some of them flooding into the pits, and that's really going to spice things up now.
It is indeed. I believe we saw P3 from the Pro category pit in TCR. It was on the time screen a few moments ago. That was, I believe, Marino was possibly P3 at the time. I think he's pitted. Yeah, it looks like he's pitted. Was stationary for 20.3 seconds. So he's been in the pit lane from P3 and TCR, possibly looking for that undercut maybe on his fellow countrymen drivers in this race. He was just dropping off the back. Here is Kumo the Finnish driver in the Audi P9 currently at the moment out there on track, and he will rejoin in nice clear air, and it doesn't look like there's any car coming down the start straight to put pressure on him as he exits pit lane now and can carry on his way. So the TCRs may be pitting around this stage of the race, everybody else staying out on the circuit, as we now get Maxime Dubas come into the pit lane in the GT4 Porsche, and this is from 9th place. We saw this Porsche try and cut through the field a little earlier on, and I love that its inspiration is from Rexy, the GT3 Porsche in the real world. That's fantastic to see. You see the traffic in the background all coming through. He's just passed all the TCR cars. Will he be re-overtaken by them this time around? Luca Nadeo then, P3 at the moment in GT4 Pro, looking for that podium, like Aaron said earlier. Not quite got the pace of the leaders in GT4 Pro. There you see at the bottom of your shot, cutting through the TCR cars. And Nadeo, P3, is not far away. There is Lundy. I wonder if these have caught a little bit. They look a little closer to the top two than what they did a moment ago, and that is what the traffic can do. Look at that. Lundy got past the traffic before the corner, and that for Tellman then meant he had to stay behind two TCR cars coming through that final corner. Stix is into the pit lane of GT4 Pro, and Engcamp is in the pits for TCR Pro from P5. So pit stop started to happen around the 40-minute mark. A few more cars on pit road again, and here's Adam Brown, who's still under pressure from Ward heading into turn 1. There is Stix, who is also pitted. So cars from both categories now, Aaron, starting to come into that pit lane. We're seeing a lot of cars flooding in. This is now the stage of the race where they're pitting.
I mean, I'll take it. I did say 40 to 50 minutes. I mean, I got it close enough, you know. I'll give myself points on that. But yeah, a couple drivers sticking it out for maybe a lap or two more. We're seeing some drivers differencing in strategies. Some choosing to fuel save, others choosing to just, you know, fight to the fore constantly. Seeing a mixed couple of drivers taking tyres as well. I think I've seen most of them take tyres. I think I've seen a couple of them not, which is quite surprising, as that could put you at a real disadvantage later on in the race. But yeah, really differing strategies right now, and should spice up the field.
Should spice up the field and should spice up the end of the race, depending on tyre life and who chose to take tyres or didn't. So drivers coming out of pit lane now then. Here is Grossman coming out of pit lane in his McLaren. There is, I believe, a Mercedes still in the pits. And that artificial light taking over more than the natural lights. This is going to be fantastic to see then, as traffic will play a part as well. These drivers might fall into the paths of some of the TCR drivers. TCR Pro, second place, Tranquillini is into the pit lane then. So he's choosing to undercut Graziano in the lead of TCR. And there you see some of traffic coming out of the pit lane there. Absolutely fantastic to see these drivers emerge. And he's in a bit down a little bit. So obviously in his box, he's doing his pit stop. The timer is going. San Martin from second place in TCR comes into the pits as well. And we'll see where these drivers feed out into the race. But he missed his box here, did San Martin. And now we're seeing the leaders of GT4 Pro come in. 1, 2, 3, 4. All in pit lane. In fact, they're all in. They're all in pit lane. They're all in for a pit stop. Anything can happen here. Look at how close that Tellman looks on the back of Lundy. So is that because of traffic he seems that close? Or maybe a bit more aggressive on his pit in? They both stop same time. They're both up at the same time. This is going to be a race in the pit lane here, Aaron. This could be absolutely fantastic stuff to watch. It is Philip versus Lundy. No, sorry, it's Tellman versus Lundy. Philip has stayed out on circuit. Apologies. Lundy in the red Porsche. Tellman in the green BMW. Who gets away first?
We're going to be waiting a while. It's like a 50-second pit stop.
Waiting a while. So let's see what these two obviously choosing to take tyres.
Oh,
and it's Tellman who gets away, and Nadeo as well, all get away before Lundy. So Lundy has actually dropped behind two drivers in the pit lane, choosing to have that bit of a longer pit stop. He's dropped behind Nadeo and that of Tellman. So now he's got work to do to remake up some ground here. And there is Nadeo out in P4, putting the lap on, or re-overtaking one of the TCR cars. Tellman in second place. Sabula out the pits, Numi out the pits. As is Rampazzo, and then the BMW M4 behind him of Schenbel. Great to see that. What an interesting pit strategy that was. And obviously, one of the drivers losing out massively there. Your race leader, Lundy, who's been in control of the race, but now finds himself at least P3. The leader of TCR Pro is now in the pits, so keep your eyes out on Tranquillini on the circuit. Where will he feed out? TCR Am as well, the leader, is in the pits of De Silva. So where will San Martin be in relation to him? Tranquillini is there, about to be lapped by a McLaren on the track at the moment. I wonder if we can get the track map on the screen as well, so to give you a relation of where the leader is in the pit. So we are currently coming towards that final corner, and the leader of TCR Pro, I believe, is on the pit exit, as is second place, to be fair. No, Graziano still in the pits on pit exit, it's saying, though. He's away now. Benjamin De Silva is away. Graziano is now away. And Tranquillini did not make the ground up there. I believe is actually possibly going to be in a fight for P2 in TCR Pro. No, manages to come out ahead then of Blessy there. So, a bit of a change for third place on the podium. It is the Hyundai of Sam Blessy, who is P3. And well, the early stop for the other Italian driver has not paid out, because I don't believe he's back in that top 5. De Silva out just in front of San Martin, as well as Luca Philipp is now in the pits. He's trying a different strategy to all the other drivers out there on the circuit at the moment. But an interesting one there. The TCR gap opening up a little bit more.
Yeah, very, very very differing strategies, just up and down the field in TCRs and GT4s. Different tyre strategies as well. I'm seeing different fuel saving. Definitely, there's a huge gap in the different pit stop times, and it's really shaken up the field in GT4s and TCRs alike. And really, really interesting to see. And it's, like I said, shaken up the field completely. Given some people huge advantages, and of course we talk about Graziano, who's now got a 10-second lead in first place in TCR Pro. And wow, I mean, it's completely flipped on its head. Of course, we talked about Lundy having that really, really poor pit stop. Not something we expected, but it was nearly 5 seconds longer than, on average, the rest of the GT4 field, making a bit of contact there with a TCR. And I just heard on the radio one of the drivers complaining, I believe that was at Lundy. I don't think he was very happy with him at all. And yeah, just a bit of a friction between the two drivers there, trying to move out of each other's way.
I wonder if it's Lundy being a bit aggressive at the moment to try and make his time back. Sticks just over a minute then in the pits. You saw they look 2 seconds quicker than that of Tellman in this race. He's actually just lost a position to Tellman in this race, and now he's got Nadeo on the back of him, so it's 3 for the lead at the moment here in the GT4 Pro as we're into that final half an hour of this race. And Sticks, who's trying to stay to the back of Tellman with Nadeo on the back of him. They're both going to pull out. They're going to possibly go 3 wide in towards this penultimate corner, and they go side by side through it, and it is Sticks around the outside. He can't make that work, surely. He hasn't made that work. This could allow Nadeo to have a run up the inside, and it is. Did he just clip the wall there? Not too sure. Definitely had to avoid something, and that is Sticks who's going to lose out to Nadeo. But is he? Because he's now got the inside line coming into turn 1. The TCR car not wanting any part of that. He took behind all of them, and Sticks back up into P2 from Nadeo. And again, you saw the sparks fly there. Did he just rub the wall a little bit? Now going ultra defensive over Nadeo in the Mercedes-Benz, coming into this little complex here. And at the moment it is Tellman who can now run away so far, because these two are putting up one heck of a fight against each other. But I believe Sticks there has just clipped the wall twice at the final corner and through turn 1. Wasn't 100% sure though. Sparks was flying. And yeah, the Mercedes of Nadeo really putting some pressure on the Porsche behind now. Lundy, like you say, has lost a lot of time in this race. He's down the order, so he's got time to make up. Was that a little tap up the rear from Nadeo on Sticks? Not 100% sure if contact was made. It looked pretty stable from Sticks. He would have received that tap. Lundy 2.5 behind. He could be right in the thick of a fight here. There you see him just behind in the background. But Tellman here will want to pull away this gap over these two, while these two are squabbling for second place. It is fantastic. And what has happened in TCRM, because De Silva is now down in third place, 2 seconds off the lead, and San Martin and Gardner are going at it in this race. There is Dominic Engel, who leads GT4 AM. So TCR AM lead change, and GT4 Pro has had a lead change. This is fantastic. Here's Graziano TCR Pro, 10 seconds in the lead. He's got a great gap at the moment. But Aaron, it's all changed in TCR AM, and it's all heating up in TCR Pro, in GT4 Pro, sorry. As you see here, San Martin and Gardner really having a good little scrap. The Audi leads the race so far from the Hyundai. And it is San Martin who is defending there from one of the Hondas. I believe that may be one of the TCR Pro drivers in this race. But it is San Martin so far is doing a great job. Looks like he's got a bit of lag problems. He keeps seeing his car just disappear and reappear. So that could be a network issue on his end. He'll be hoping that holds out in this race. And Tranquillini then has had a bit of a moment somewhere, because Blessy has got past him for second place. That gap was just over a second. It's now swapped over. So it's interesting to see that the battles are sort of balancing themselves out at the moment. So this is going to be an interesting race at the very end here. It is San Martin who is leading from Gardner by half a second in TCR AM. But in that GT4 Pro, it is still Tellman from Nadeo by half a second. Sticks is P3, 9/10 of a second. We are heading to that 50-minute mark in this race. It's going to be a fantastic race until the very end in each category then, as we go through each individual race here, each individual battle. Here is Tranquillini, P3. At the moment, 12 seconds off the back of the race leader. Has just lost out to Blessy as well. So he is not doing so good at the moment. He's lost a lot of ground in the pit lane as Tranquillini. And Sam Blessy so far doing exactly what he needs to do in this race. He's doing everything right. Andy Tranquillini just losing out at the later stages of this race. But it is that fight in TCR AM and that fight in GT4 Pro that is really making this race with 25 to go. Matteo Graziano leads the TCR Pro category. It's going to be fantastic to see him at the very end possibly take this winners. Look at this fight. Here is Gardner looking on the back of St. Martin. This is for TCR AM lead. Looking around the outside is the Hyundai. He goes very, very wide. That's going to allow the Honda to come into play here. Not sure which Honda that is. I believe it's a TCR Pro Honda. And Gardner there, with the disappearing San Martin of his Audi, manages to hold on. And the Pro driver obviously not wanting to get involved in the TCR AM battle. Having a look at the inside as well. They've got GT4 cars. I believe that is the GT4 Pro leaders who's about to put a lap on them. So they are really having to stay out the way, because GT4 Pro are in the thick of a battle. TCR AM are in the thick of a battle. And now all of a sudden, for the lead BMW, he's got a flashing Audi in front of him, and he'll want to clear him as soon as possible. Here is Nadeo, who is now up into second place in GT4 Pro. He's putting the lap on the other cars then. And this is where the traffic comes into play throughout this race. Here is Carter Lundy on the back of this traffic, trying to gain on the two drivers on the podium at the moment. He's going to go to the outside line of the Honda. Around the right-hand bend, there you go, with the left-hander coming up, so he should be able to get that job finished. Will he look to dive up the inside past the Hyundai of De Silva? Gardner, sorry. There is San Martin just ahead, bouncing all over the curbs. Lundy looking to put the lap on him. Sticks is just ahead of him by about half a second. And you can see Tellman, Nadeo and Sticks. Sam Martin there just drops the wheel onto the gravel, and Lundy has to take to the grass to avoid the back of him as he puts a lap on him. Lundy stuck to a line, went on the grass, no contact made. Great racing between the two, the GT4 and the TCR car. But once again now, St. Martin will have Gardner trying to come back and put him under pressure. Lundy is putting Sticks under some pressure right now, though. So he is going to be in this one for the long haul so far. So it is going to be an interesting race here at the front of GT4 Pro. A change for position in GT4 AM. That is Rampazzo and Grossman changing places for 4th and 5th in GT4 AM. So a great little battle there between the pair of them. And you have to say, look at GT4 Pro, Graziano in a great little position. Here's P3 of Herpo. And Nicholas having a great little race here. On the podium, 5 seconds up the road from Grossman in P4 in class. Great to see the work he can do. Here is Grossman, really being attacked by Rampazzo there, and there is another car on the back. That is one of the BMWs in the background. Not sure who that one is, but Jacopo Rampazzo is really attacking the back of the McLaren, who just understeers a little wide. Does that give the Mercedes the run it needs? It's got just alongside, bumper to bumper. Not enough, though, and he has to tuck back behind. I believe it is Schnibel who is the BMW behind these two. So for position overall, but nothing in class. And yeah, great racing as they come up to lap some of the TCR pack once again. This is for 4th and 5th, and early points could mean better prizes at the end of the season. This is what you love about a bit of an endurance race. It's only an hour 15 as the Mercedes looks up the inside. Nothing done at the hairpin. An hour 15 endurance side of this race. Means that middle part of the race where it all just kind of lulls out. Pit stops are made. Drivers just ebb and flow between positions. Now all comes together at the very end as the night time does start to take over here in Sebring. And it's been a fantastic night's worth of racing. And what a race we have had next week. Same time, 7 p.m. BST, that's UK time, or GMT +1 I believe we are on. It is the Imola race. So you will not want to miss any of the action around Imola there. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. That is the 22nd of April. You will not want to miss anything around that legendary Imola circuit. But here is your overall race leader and the leader of GT4 Pro, Lucas Tellman. Just putting a lap on one of the TCR cars. Lundy now within 6/10. It's all of a sudden 1.6 seconds between the entire GT4 Pro field. I believe Lundy just got a bit of a slow penalty there because he just dropped off the back a little bit. He saw his number flash red. The TCR drivers there just staying right out the way. They do not want to be in a part of this lead battle that could determine the race win. Not with 20 minutes left to go. Lucas Tellman from Luca Nadeo. A flash of the lights from Lundy. That's to let the TCR car know that he's coming through. Here is Henry Ward down in 7th place. Oh, he's lost it on his own. Oh, big hit into the wall backwards. Nearly bounces into the Porsche. And Henry Ward, that is a huge moment for him. And let's take a look at that. He's come past the Porsche. Just brakes a lot later, does he? Gets the move done. The Porsche has gone very wide. He's kept a nice tight line, but carries the speed. Did he just take too tight a line? The rear end comes round on him. And that will be pit lane to repair the damage for Henry Ward. It was a cracking move, but just too much speed into the final corner. Sent the car miles around, flying into the wall. That battle out front, though, 7/10 of a second between the top four in that GT4 Pro car category. Here's Luca Phillip. He's got Brown and Ward on the back of him. He had a good pit stop to jump this little trio because he was behind the both of them. Now he's ahead going into the final 19 minutes. Can he stay there, though? Half a second separate the top four in this category. So battles wherever you look so far in this field. Tellman has to take to the inside. Nadeo's going to look the longer way around. Then Stix is going to look up the inside at the final corner on Nadeo, who's going to try and keep it there. Manages to come back in between the pair of the BMW and Mercedes-Benz driver. Lundy's in the background as well. Nadeo attacking Tellman with Stix on the back of him. And Lundy was going to try and look around the outside. They're three wide coming into turn one. It is Nadeo who's attacking the back of Tellman. Stix attacking the back of Nadeo. Was there a little bit of contact there between the Mercedes and the BMW? They are hammer and tongue at the moment. Absolutely fantastic race. And Lundy's gone round the outside of Sticks. Can he make it work? There's a spun BMW. And I believe Sticks had to get out of that one to avoid the BMW. That looks like the same one that went into the wall earlier. And now Lundy moves into P3. Sticks has lost out. He probably had to get off the throttle. And with the TCR traffic, Tellman, Nadeo, Lundy, Sticks, all fighting for this lead. It is a great battle at the moment. In towards the hairpin they come now. And Tellman still hangs on for this lead as we head into the dying moments of this race. What an absolute great battle between the top four here in GT4 Pro. Absolutely outstanding. Back down to Philip, who's managed to get past Brown's got past Philip. So did Philip make a mistake? He's now got Ward, who's hassling the back of him as well. The Apex Academy driver to the outside. He's just parking the car there. We see that closing speed on the brakes once more from Lewis Ward. Absolutely great on the brakes. His McLaren has been all day. And a great race here from all these drivers. That's what we love about GT4s and TCR cars. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Great racing throughout. There's Tellman. Sticks has dropped off the back of this pack a little bit. He's now over a second behind. So is he just losing a bit of momentum now he's been passed by Lundy? Well, that gap comes back under a second. There's Nadeo. Just goes a little wider. Takes a different line through that final corner, I've noticed, compared to Tellman and to Lundy. Doesn't look to use as much of the track at the final corner as the other drivers as well. This, though, is Philip looking back at Brown. Ward not been able to stick with them. You see how bumpy it is through that final couple of corners. Luca Philip there then on the rear end of Brown as they come down towards turn one. Just over 15 minutes left in this race. This is where you may see a few more drivers get a bit braver and have a look up the inside. Make a few late moves late on. Ward not being able to stick with these two at the moment. Oh, there's been an incident. Who's this? This is Rampazoo, who's still having a bit of argy-bargy with one of the Mercedes drivers. So this is what happened then. Rampazoo. Oh, it's contact between him and the BMW M4 driver. And then a bit more, and they both go round at the final corner. Both clipping the barrier. And Rampazoo there just tap the rear of the BMW, and then again a little bit more argy-bargy between the Mercedes and BMW drivers. They try to get that going down the start straight, so we caught the end of that one. Rampazoo there. This for P4. In fact, I don't even think that's for position in class. This is, though, this is Tellman with Nadeo, Lundy, and then a TCR car splitting Lundy and Sticks. So Nadeo, who wasn't with these two leaders before the pit stops, has really played his strategy well. He's right on them now. And we're into that final 14 minutes of this race. And this is where the drivers will have to make sure no mistakes happen. That is Victor Lewandowski just ahead. Oh, he left that late to pull out there over Lewandowski, the privateer. In GT4 Ram, Tellman left that very late to pull out. As they come through the final corner, Nadeo gets closer and closer and closer. And can he just tuck underneath? Coming through the final corner. No, he can't. He'll have to wait one more lap. Nadeo doing absolute bits at the moment. And he's bringing Lundy with him as well. So it's 3 for the lead. Sticks has just dropped off the back of these 3. Lundy at the moment flying so far in this race. He's a great pace to start with. Poor pit stop. He's caught back onto the leaders. And he'll want to make sure he can take home that race win. It Sticks with the fastest lap. Engel in Pro in GT4 Am. Pro for TCR is Graziano with the fastest lap, and De Silva the fastest lap in TCR Am. So I wonder what happened to De Silva in this race. Now Nadeo looking to the outside at the hairpin. Tellman just went a little deep, nothing too major. Lundy's watching this, and Sticks is right with them once again. So Sticks fancies a piece of the action as Nadeo here is looking for a move. Tellman has to go defensive, and this is where Sticks may try and get the Nadeo may try and get the cutback. Can't do that there. 4 for the lead with 12.5 minutes left. This is what you want. Lundy now looking to the outside, nearly making contact there with Nadeo. Neither driver in this quartet is blinking. It is a great offensive and defensive drive by all of these drivers in this race, and this is the hardest part for Nadeo. He's got to attack and defend. So does Lundy at the moment. Whereas for Sticks and Tellman, they're just doing one of the two. So 1 hour 3 gone in this race. We're into that final 1 hour 12 minutes. It looks to be a great race. Aaron has had to come away from the commentary booth for the time being, if you're wondering where Aaron has gone. And once again, Nadeo just getting that, looking to get that better run out the final corner. Can't do it there. And he's trundling down the... I say trundling, sorry. He's coming down the start straight. 1, 2, 3, 4 at the very end of this race for the lead. This is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. This is the leader of GT4 and Dominic Engel on the back of the... I believe that's Ward and Phillip battle as well in the McLaren and the Porsche. So Dominic Engel doing very well in his Porsche to lead GT4 AM. There you see Ward and Phillip trying to lap one of the TCR cars. And there's the battle for 6th and 7th in the GT4 Pro. TCR Pro is this man, Matteo Graziano, leading 17 seconds, did the job in the pit stop and hasn't looked back since. He's really put a good performance in today, a good shift in. He can be happy with his race and his work at the end of this one. Blessy, Sam Blessy, currently P2. And Benjamin De Silva, P3. What did happen to him, though? Because he was leading pretty comfortably over San Martin. And then dropped to P3 and is 10 seconds behind. Let's take a look and see if we can find out what happened to De Silva then. So this is coming down the back straight. It's gone defensive. And, oh, gets spun around. Now, was that De Silva? That's a purple and white Honda. So I believe that isn't, yes, that is not San Martin or Gardner. So I'm not sure which driver that is, but De Silva there spun around. And I didn't see any cars overtake him there. So I wonder what put him down to the, or was he third at the time? Not sure, but he was close to the back. This is De Silva though. Flash of the lights. That is to the BMW driver. Not sure what that was. What's that all about? Has there been a bit more argy-bargy somewhere on the circuit? He's got a Mercedes GT4 behind him. Interesting that he's flashing the lights to one driver there. Not sure why. Lead out front though, still half a second separating the top three. Nadeo's just flashed up red on his number. So I'm not sure. This your GT4 lead in the pro category. 9/10 of a second separate the top four. What an absolute race this has been. 10 minutes, just under 10 minutes now to go. Nadeo defending the inside line from Lundy. Sticks is right there as well. This is what you want in a long race. You want that final couple of minutes to be action-packed. And this is exactly what we have here at the lead of GT4 Pro. Brilliant stuff to watch from Nadeo. Tellman, though, has controlled this pace since the pit stops. He's been in front. He's not really... He's come under pressure, but he's not blinked a single bit. Lundy having a look on Nadeo here. Can't get it done. Tellman, yeah, absolutely fantastic race from him. He's controlled what he is doing. He's drove his lines. He's defended well. And has just been top-notch after the pit stops. Really has been. Russ Fowler on the back of Viola. 4 TCR and this is 6th and 7th. It is the Audi versus Hyundai. Fowler looking to the outside, now looking to cut it back in, but can't do so. Viola was just too good on the brakes there. Manages to park it on the apex. That is one of the GT4 Pro, one of the GT4 cars. Nadeo and Lundy exchanging places for TCR Pro, GT4 Pro. So what has happened out to the leaders? And Lundy's got past Nadeo. Tellman is currently now your race leader. Nadeo's going to try and come back at him. And doesn't, because Lundy manages to put his Porsche between the two of them. So Lundy is up into P2. Nadeo has lost out to Lundy there. And now Tellman, final stages of this race, is going to come under pressure from his rival earlier on. Great end to this race. Full darkness has taken over the circuit here, the artificial light. And we're going to take a look at the full pass of Lundy then. He got up the inside going into the penultimate corner. And just got the better run out the penultimate corner and final corner. So let's take a look at this. So Nadeo behind Tellman. Lundy pulls out now. And yeah, look, just a better run up the inside. And we saw Nadeo take a different line through there for the last couple of laps. Lundy must have seen that that's where he can make it happen. And he 100% did. Lundy took full advantage of that. He's now having a look at the race leader, Tellman, then into 1 hour, 9 minutes gone. So we've got 6 minutes of this race remaining. There's about 3 laps left. Maybe just under. And Tellman here is under immense pressure from Lundy. That is a lap, not only to the lap car to stay out of the way, but to the race leader as well, to let him know that he's there. Sticks trying to attack the back of Nadeo. That's for the podium. Tellman trying to hang on in there over Lundy, who is looking racy at the very end of this race. The pit stop put him off the back of this of the lead pack. And now at the very end, he's right there with the leaders. Tellman goes to that defensive line. Lundy's going to go to the outside. Tellman can come back across a little bit. Oh, Lundy thinks of a late dive. That puts Tellman under pressure. But no move done there. Now is Nadeo looking up the inside. No, he's not. He's not close enough. And once more, Lundy tries to have a go at Tellman. Nadeo's right there. Sticks is right there. They're all coming across the line. With 5 minutes left in this race, Lundy around the outside of Tellman. He's not going to do it there. Doesn't drop a wheel even onto the curb. So it's great driving from him. But Nadeo now, he's trying to come back, and it's all heating up in this last couple of moments of this race. It's been a fantastic battle out in the front of GT4 Pro. Pascal Sticks is still with them, the Austrian. What a race this is turning out to be here in the lead group of the GT4 Pro category. It is a clear track for quite the while. So I imagine it'll be a fair fight to the very end, unless there's a drama for one of the back markers. But they are so far up the track, I don't think they'll get involved here. This could be a straight shootout to the end of this race. Look at Lundy in front, just stalking the back of that BMW, not letting it go. Really keeping and clinging to the back of him as Sticks under the brakes. That's really close to the Mercedes. Nothing comes of it though. Great fight. 1 hour 11 gone. And I think we're going to get 2 left after this. We're only just halfway through this circuit, so we'll have to wait and see, because at the minute there could be 2, there could just be 1. This is the top 4 fight for the overall win and the class win. There you see all the cars going through the circuit. Great helicopter shots there of Sebring. Sticks. Has Sticks got past Nadeo? Has Nadeo had a problem because he's lost out to Sticks? And he's dropped off the back of the Porsche. So not sure what's happened to Nadeo there, but he's lost out on that podium spot. Lundy going around the outside of Tellman. Can't make that stick again. Tellman keeping that tighter line. Lundy now tries to tuck the car underneath, and has he done just that? They come side by side down the start straight. It is Lundy versus Tellman. Tellman still has the upper hand at the moment. And he's driving a fantastic race, and Tellman will put him to the outside line. And Lundy has to go the long way round, but can't get it done. Tellman is driving the widest BMW on the circuit. Now Lundy looks to the outside again. Tellman knows exactly where to place this car. He needs Sticks to get involved here. He needs a little help from the other Porsche behind, or the Mercedes. This has been a fantastic scrap, and it is going down to the wire. Just over 2 minutes left in this race. I'm not sure if... I think this could potentially be the penultimate lap. There might be one more after this. Now Sticks is going to have a look on the inside of Lundy as they come through the hairpin. He still has the inside line. Lundy's on the outside. He's managed to tuck back between the BMW and the Porsche. So a great battle here. He's now having a look at the back of the BMW. Sticks is going to try and put his nose in as well. Fantastic at the death. He goes up the inside. Does he have enough of the car alongside? Just about. He hops over the curb. And now there is Nado back involved in this battle as well. Lundy to the outside once more. He's trying everything. He is throwing the kitchen sink at this race, but cannot make a way through for the race lead. With 1.5 minutes to go, Sticks fancies a P2, maybe a go at the race lead himself. This is absolutely dramatic stuff here at Sebring. Look at the Porsches side by side. Sticks just can't keep it up the inside of Lundy. Lundy's just more confident on the brakes. And what a race we have in front of us here. We come on to the back straight, and there will be one more lap left. This has been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You do not want to take your eyes off of this fight, because going on to this last lap, any of the top four can win this race. Anything can happen. Lundy not as close this time round as they come to the line. With about 30 seconds left in this race, they take the white flag. It is the final lap of the race now. Here we go, Lundy! Did he just make contact with the BMW? I think a little tap there from Lundy. And now all of a sudden here comes Sticks on the back of Lundy to have a look. And now Nadeo's on the inside of Sticks. Anything's going to happen, and anything will happen for this podium. Nadeo up the inside of Sticks. He's back up into third place. What a crucial lap this is going to be for each driver. Has Tellman just been given a lifeline there? You saw a bit of traffic up the road. I don't think that'll interfere with this battle. But now Nadeo defending from Sticks. They've just fell off the back of the front two a little bit at the end. Lundy behind Tellman, as it has been for a while now. I bet Tellman is going to need a massive glass of water after this. Maybe even a beer. Because what a drive for the Belgian driver. Absolutely brilliant stuff. He has been fantastic, and Tellman will look to take the checkered flag as race winner, but he's got Lundy right on the back of him. And we're just over halfway through this circuit. He's got just under half a lap to hang on in there. Nadeo third place, but he's really dropped off the back of the front two. As it stands, a quarter of the lap for Tellman to go. And it could be the BMW M4 that gets the race win. 2 corners left. The Porsche of Carter Lundy has surely got to chuck everything at this into the final couple of corners. He's going to try. Tellman makes him go the long way round. Sticks has got to go the long way round against Nadeo. And is Lundy going to try and tuck back underneath? He just ponks it on the apex. That's brilliant driving from Tellman, who now gets the run towards the checkered flag. A flash of the lights from Lundy. But Lucas Tellman will take the race win from Carter Lundy. Luca Nadeo will hang on for P3. What a fight that was. Pascal Sticks P4. He takes the fastest lap in category as well. San Martin, he's under some pressure from the Hyundai of Gardner, but the problem is there's a car in between them who's not even in the same category. That is Winkler, who's in the Pro category in the Honda, in between the Pro-Am, the TCR Am and the TCR second place, race leader and second place battle. So he's really upsetting the party here. ETR Pro race winner Matteo Graziano for him. And Dominic Engel took the GT4 AM race win. This is the action though for Alvaro San Martin. Coming round the final corner. The Honda in between is not going to hang on. Gavin Gardner will take second place, but San Martin wins in AM. What an absolute fantastic battle that was. That was amazing. That was amazing. What an absolute... just a dominant display of defensive driving. You have to say that from Tellman there. The widest BMW in Sebring. And that was amazing from the driver. Here's a few replays then at the end of the race. Here is Lundy. That's him getting past Nadeo, as we saw earlier on. Absolutely fantastic fight from them two. It was a great battle throughout. Between the top four, really, in this category. And that was great pace. That was great pace from him. Lundy had really good pace all race, to be fair. Did well at the start, but it's all about how you finish. You try to finish strong. There's Nadeo going for P3. This was earlier in the race. And you just see him, look, get the run on the Porsche in front. And up the inside he goes into the complex. So a great little race between all them. There's Dominic Engel as well. As what an end to that race. What a dramatic end to that race. So Tellman, your race winner in GT4 Pro. Engel, the GT4 AM winner. TCR Pro was won by Graziano, and TC4 AM was won by San Martin. So brilliant racing throughout here at Sebring, and round 2 of the season will be next week at Imola. And I believe we can bring you a few driver interviews as well between some of the driver. Let's do the results first before we speak with some of the drivers then. And we should hopefully bring them on screen now. There they are. Lucas Tellman, P1 from Carter Lundy. Luca Nadeo, Pascal Stix, P4. Mike Plush, P5. Lewis Ward, P6. Luca Phillip, P7. Dominic Engel, 8th place overall, but your GT4 AM race winner. Cedric Charbot, P9. Rowan Eaton, P2 in class, P10 overall. Isvan Desi, P11. Joslo Cibula, P12. Miko Nurmi, P13. Nicholas Herpo, 14th and 3rd in class. Will take a podium for GT4 AM. Ronland Grossman, Leonard Schnebel, Jacopo Rampazou, and Leo Dovlet. And then it was Raphael, P19. Francois Strat, P20. Lars, P21. Kevin Smith, P22. Maxime Dalbus, P23. Martin Fouche, P24. And it was Matteo Graziano, the race winner of TCR Pro from Victor Lewandowski. So we managed to also beat one of the GT cars as well. Sam Bellasi, P12 T7. Andy Tranquillini, P28. P29 was Gabriele Bonacorsi. Weber Nijkamp was P30. Henry Ward, 31st. 32nd was Toby Johns. 33rd was Alvaro San Martin, who was your race winner in TCR AM. Carl Winkler, P34, ahead of Gavin Gardner. Benjamin De Silva, Lars Vila, and then Ian Manners. Russ Flower was P39 from Constantino Mariano, Fabio Viola, Reese Watt, Samuli Kumo. Adam Brown, P44, was 6 laps down. Carlo Carley, 6 laps down as well. We lost Matt Emmons, Damien Harris, and Dan Carpenter early on in the race. What a race it was. Absolutely fantastic. Imola will be just as good, I imagine, for the drivers as well. So great defensive skills from Lucas in that race. And I believe we will be able to speak with a few of the drivers as we await them into the commentary booth momentarily. But Imola, the next destination, we obviously go to Emilia Romagna for the second race of the season. before heading to Zandvoort second. We can, though, speak with Carter Lundy, who will be second place and hopefully be brought into the comms box room momentarily. Here he is. Carter, what an absolute race that was. The pit stops didn't seem to help you out, but it was great pace at the end to catch the pack.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, those pit stops, I gotta say, I don't think there's a race I've ever done on iRacing where I haven't lost time in the pits. It's just something I need to figure out right now. I'm not trusting the fuel calculator. I'm not trusting the how much I need to put in, and then I think I lost some time with the tire change. I know Lucas only changed 3 tires. I changed all 4, so I was also a little bit cautious on the pit entry. So the pit stops definitely cost me there, but in the end, I managed to get back to the front and get my chance to fight back. But unfortunately, just P2 there.
Yeah, you put some pressure on Lucas at the very end. It just wasn't to be. That must have been the widest BMW you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, no kidding. I tried a bunch of things. It's really tough to pass, and especially into the final corner, and that's basically your best chance is the final corner. But he was hugging the inside really well, and it's just really tough to pass on the outside with the bumps. And the inside line wins in these sports cars. If you got the tighter line, you got the shorter line, you're gonna have the advantage. So it was really tough to pass. But yeah, that was a really fun race. That was a lot of fun racing at the end there. There was a really awesome sequence in there where we were passing a bunch of TCRs and we were all side by side, and in the nighttime. It was pretty cool. So I had a lot of fun, and would have liked to get the win, but P2 is not bad.
Yeah, not bad indeed. Imola, next time out. Carter, what can you do around Imola?
Stay within the track limits.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and can't wait to see you next time out at Imola. Congratulations on P2 tonight.
Thank you.
So that was Carter Lundy there then. P2 in overall, actually, and in that GT4 Pro as well. And we can now speak with Lucas, who is your overall race winner. Lucas, that was a difficult end to the race.
Yeah, we really didn't expect it, but yeah, that was a really intense race, and I'm really happy with that.
It must have felt like he was driving the wide body kit version of the GT4 BMW, because nobody could seem to get past you in that race.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the race, I had really no pace, so I had a different all the lap at the end of the race, and yeah, so it passed, and we are happy. Really, thanks to the team. My team engineer did an awesome job at the pit stop, and that thanks to the pit stop, the win.
We go to Imola next time out. What can you do around Imola, and are you looking forward to it as well?
I think we will be more faster at Imola. The BMW was not at this advantage here at Sebring, but I hope to keep that first position at the championship next week, and we'll see.
Well, enjoy the win, Lucas. We'll see you next time at Imola. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. See you.
Great win for Lucas there. So he was your overall race winner and GT4 Pro race winner. We can speak with Dominic Engel now then in the commentary box. Dominic, a class win in GT4 and fantastic race for you. Pretty easy at the end there. You had quite the gap over your rivals.
Yeah, I mean, it all started pretty much in qualifying already by nailing the lap. That final lap got me a much better starting position than I thought I would be able to get. And from there, it pretty much just was the thing that everyone hates to see in F1, the hold position and just follow the leader or follow a group of cars ahead of you. And I kept checking on the relative whether I could keep the distance to Rowan behind me. And even through the pit stop, my fuel saving game wasn't very good. So I lost a bit of time in the pit stop versus at least the leaders. But it looks like Rowan wasn't in much better shape on that. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty much the early part of the race looked like it was follow the leaders, but you had great pace to sort of have fights with some of the GT4 Pro drivers as well. You was in the battle area of Ward and Phillip, and I believe Adam Brown for quite a lot of that race as well. You seem to be following them guys, so good pace from yourself all round tonight.
Yeah, it's quite nice to see. We didn't quite know where we would be before today, and obviously Pascal was in the race for the win. It always looks a bit bad when you're fourth and in a battle of four at the end. But also with Mike up there, it's just a shame that Ronald had a spin on the opening lap, and Adam had that incident, the hairpin there, in that battle group ahead of me. But yeah, I didn't want to pass the people ahead of me. It was just all checking the relative, who's ahead of me, who's behind me, are they in the same class, and just basically trying to discipline myself to not do anything silly, not to cost myself time unnecessarily.
Indeed. Imola's the next one out. What can you do around Imola? You've great pace tonight. Can you do the same next week?
I mean, Sebring's pretty much the circuit I have probably got the most experience on, so maybe today was sort of an outlier. But the last time I went to Imola a couple of years ago, I went quite well, but they've changed the track limits since then, so who knows? Who knows now? But I'm looking forward to it. It's a good schedule, so should be fun. It's close racing regardless. So
yeah, should be fun. Close racing regardless. Well, Dominic, congratulations tonight. We'll see you next week.
Yep, cheers. See you next week.
So some fantastic racing there. Dominic, the winner of GT4 AM. And we have Lars, who finished P4 in the TCR AM category, I believe. Lars, P4 tonight, just missing out on the podium. Just talk us through your race.
It was pretty much lost in the qualifying already. I wasn't very good at getting the heat into the tires, which was incredibly important on the relatively cold track. These TCR tires are like rocks. But thankfully, I was able to get unscathed through the initial incidents on lap 1 in the TCR field. So at least I didn't have a damaged car, and I could work my way through the race with just consistent clean laps. I'm surprised I only had 2 incident points at the end of the race.
So sounds like a pretty quiet race for yourself. Just outside that podium, as we said, just wasn't to be for you tonight, but it's good points in the championship going into the future rounds.
Absolutely. I'm aiming to just try and consistently get top 5s, because that will keep me in the fight for the entire season. And I had a league before where I also fought really hard, and despite incidents, basically every race we were able to keep in the championship fight till the last round.
Yeah. Imola next week. What can you do around Imola? Are you a fan of the circuit? What's the goal for next week?
Oh, Imola is gonna be great in the TCR class. The draft log here was strong, but at Imola with the super long straight, it's gonna be even stronger. And it's always been a complete roulette for me at Imola. Yes, I can be really faster, I can be really slower. I think we'll just have to find out, and I hopefully can surprise you.
Well, we wait to see, Lars, on what you can do next week. Congratulations, though, on P4 tonight.
Thank you very much.
And I believe that is everybody we can hear from tonight. So it's a fantastic night's worth of racing here at Apex Racing. What a night it has been here in the sports car season. The great opener to season 1, round 1 here at Sebring. Once again, Alvaro San Martin, the TCR AM winner, Matteo Graziano, TCR Pro, Dominic Engel, GT4 AM, and Lucas Tellman, GT4 Pro winner there. Aaron will hopefully be back with us next week once again. But what a race it has been. We head to Imola in a week's time. That has been all out from Sebring and from us all here at the Apex Racing TV team. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.